Ever get that weird feeling that you're part of some giant experiment you never actually signed up for? Well, today we're diving into a source that makes a really provocative claim that for decades, millions of us have been the subjects of a massive social engineering project, and it was broadcast right into our living rooms. Let's dig into that idea. According to the source, while we all thought we were just kicking back and relaxing in front of the TV, something else was going on. It wasn't just us watching the screen. In a way, the screen was watching us, or more accurately, it was shaping our thought patterns in ways we never even noticed. And right there, that's the core argument we're going to unpack. The source claims that what it calls mass idiocracy wasn't some accident or an unfortunate side effect of television. No, it was the whole point. The intended, carefully engineered result of a project designed to make human thought more uniform. Okay, so you're probably thinking, how on earth could that even work? Let's get into the nitty-gritty. In our first section, we'll look at the neurological and psychological mechanics the source claims are at the heart of this whole thing. So the source claims it all starts with your brainwaves. The second you turn on the TV, your brain activity supposedly slows down and shifts into what's called the alpha pattern. Think of it as a light waking trance. And here's the crucial part. While you're in that state, your prefrontal cortex, that's the bit of your brain that handles logic and critical analysis, kind of goes on standby. Your mental firewall is down and you become way more open to suggestion. So once your brain is in this suggestible state, the source says it's basically game on. 3 main conditioning tricks get to work on you, all designed to reshape how you see the world: substitution, normalization, and narrowing. Let's start with the first one, substituting experience. Instead of, actually living your own messy, complicated real life, you become a passive spectator watching someone else's simplified, pre-scripted life on a screen. You pretty much stop being the main character in your own story and just become a consumer of someone else's. And here's the really wild part. The whole system supposedly protects itself. The source claims that if you try to criticize television, people look at you like you're crazy, right? The very idea is ridiculed. So you end up defending the very walls of your own mental prison without even realizing it. Okay, so that's the how. But what does this actually do to a person over time? Let's move on and break down the transformation of the individual, step by step, according to what the source lays out. The author lays out this pretty unnerving timeline. In the first month, you might still fight it. You're on the couch yelling, "This is so dumb." But by month 3, your brain, being the amazing adapter it is, figures out it's just easier to go with the flow. The critical thinking circuits start to get less use. By month 6, forget about it. The conditioning is locked in. The TV isn't just something you watch anymore, it's actively reshaping you. And this process supposedly creates a viewer with some very specific traits. You've probably met someone like this. They have super strong opinions on things they actually know very little about, and they're often just repeating sound bites they've picked up from a show. They get really worked up about on-screen drama, but real-world problems? Total apathy. And that last one is a biggie. They can't stand silence. The mind gets so used to being fed constant noise that being alone with its own thoughts becomes, well, unbearable. All right, so that's the individual level. But the source argues this goes way, way bigger. This isn't just about one person's brain, it's about steering an entire society. So let's zoom out and look at how entertainment itself is framed as a powerful tool for social control. That's a huge claim, right? The most efficient form of social control. Why? Well, according to the source, it's because we volunteer for it. We actually pay money for it. We argue with people who criticize it, and we hand over our most precious resource, our time, all without a second thought. You don't feel controlled, you just feel entertained. The source has a great name for this: mental anesthesia. The goal isn't to help you relax in a healthy way. It's to sedate you mentally, to keep you so distracted by the next episode or the next bit of celebrity news that you just don't have the mental energy left to think about the big, complicated stuff happening in the real world. And just like with real junk food, there's a whole menu. The source calls it the mental junk food diet. You've got reality shows that make mediocrity look glamorous. You have news programs that are less about information and more about emotional roller coasters. And then you have those super addictive shows, the ones designed from the ground up to keep you binge-watching, to keep you in that passive, suggestible brain state for as long as possible. And this is where the real cost comes in. Every single hour you spend on this mental junk food is an hour you didn't spend learning a new skill, reading something that challenges you, or maybe even getting involved in your community to fix things. The final takeaway from the source here is pretty stark. An entertained population isn't the population of active citizens. It's just an audience. So, where does all of this lead? What happens when you have a whole society raised on this stuff for decades? Let's get to our final section, the reckoning, and the final product of this whole system. The source uses a really blunt term for the end result, the functional idiot. Now, this isn't about someone's IQ. It's about a person who's perfectly capable of doing their job, going through the motions of daily life. But when it comes to thinking critically about the big picture, the systems that control their lives, they just can't do it. They think they're free because they can flip between 100 different channels, mistaking that for real choice. And here's the kicker. The source is very clear. This isn't about pointing fingers at those people. The argument is that if you grew up with TV, this has affected you too, me too, all of us. It's just a matter of degree. But realizing that isn't about being defeated. It's the very first step to waking up from it. So it forces you to ask yourself some hard questions, right? How comfortable are you with silence? Where do your strongest opinions really come from? Are they truly yours, or did you just absorb them somewhere along the line? Ultimately, the source leaves us with this final thought. The debate isn't really about whether this programming exists. The real question is, now that you're aware of the possibility, what are you going to do about it? How do you start taking back control of your own mind and your own attention?